The following is a live special presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. Good afternoon, my name is Ron Chuckett. Welcome to the program for this 24th day of October 2023. And yes, that is a Drunken Donuts cup next to me. Got to get my coffee in some way. And here we are. We have now reached the end of the line of 2001, an Action PC season odyssey. We have reached the World Series, and if you look at the teams and forget their histories, you'd think this was a Bally Sports Net special from mid-August of this year. It's the Seattle Mariners and the Houston Astros. 2001, it's a different story. First of all, it's the first time, if you go by the canon history of these teams, that either one have made the World Series, so we'll have a new World Series champion. It's the first World Series game in the state of the state of Texas. Houston is in Texas, as the Astros really didn't make it for real until 2005. So we know we'll have a new champion. The Yankees, of course, were beaten by Seattle in the American League Divisional Series. And so two first-time World Series teams. First time the state of Texas has ever hosted a World Series game. And you have kind of the Energizer Bunny Never Say Die Mariners here. The Yankees took them to the limit in 5 games in the American League Divisional Series before David Bell walked it off to send the Mariners to the ALCS, to which the Oakland A's pushed them to the magic 7 games, including Oakland blowing an 8-0 lead in Game 7 just to get here. The Mariners just are one of those teams that are plucky and never say die and all those cliches you could put onto them, but yet here they are, the year that in real life they won 116 games, and they are in the World Series. The Astros have had an easier run of it, although, yes, the Chicago Cubs took them to 6 in the National League Championship Series. They disposed of the Florida Marlins in 4 games in the National League Divisional Series. They've only played 11 games, and their pitching sets up rather well. They are going to go with Shane Reynolds in Game 1 and Roy Oswalt in Game 2, both the games here in Houston. And we'll have them maybe even as back as early as Games 4 and 5 in Seattle. We'll see about how Houston's rotation sets up the rest of the way. This is the first time that we've done a World Series, by the way, where we are playing by the home league ballpark rules. When we've done our other replays in the past, it has been American League. The DH has either been in effect throughout the entire series or not. Not anymore, and for the next 2 seasons, because we're doing 88 next, we play by the rules of the home team park, and because Houston is a National League team in 2001, the pitchers will hit, which means that Edgar Martinez gets to watch from the bench for a while. Advantage, I think, Houston coming down the stretch. So it's the Mariners and the Astros. No slides for this, those took too long to do, but it is the World Series, and it is right now. As Retro Sports Network proudly presents the 2001 World Series. Today, from Enron Field in Houston, Texas, it's Game 1 between the National League champion Houston Astros and the American League champion Seattle Mariners. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. And so it'll be Shane Reynolds on the hill for Houston. Reynolds making his 3rd start of the postseason. He's 33 years old. Fastball at 83, throws a splitter and a ground ball pitcher. He made a start in both of the series. I believe he won Game 3 against Florida in the NLDS 8-1. He's on 8 days of rest. He pitched on the 19th, so I'm assuming that was Game 3 in Chicago. He went 6 1/3, 101 pitches, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. 13 1/3 for Shane in these playoffs. 7 hits, 3 runs, all earned. He walked 2 and struck out 6. And his earned run average at 203 in those 2 starts gets him the Game 1 nod. It'll be Ichiro leading off in right field for Seattle here in Game 1. Mark McLemore in left will bat second. John Olerud at first goes third. No DH in Houston. David Bell, the ALDS hero, at third cleans up. Brett Boone at second will bat fifth. Dan Wilson behind the plate will go sixth. Carlos Guillen at short batting seventh. Mike Cameron in center goes eighth. And Aaron Seeley on the mound should throw about 120 pitches, will bat ninth. As we said in Game 7 of the Seattle-Oakland series, the bottom 3 regular batters in the lineup, not Seeley obviously, need to be more productive. They have struggled so far, but yet here they are, especially because they have to make up for the loss of Edgar Martinez until we get to Seattle, at least in the starting lineup. Defensively for Houston, where this will be the only place they'll be playing in a World Series this October, Lance Berkman a 5 and a 5 in left. Richard Hidalgo is a 7 and a 6 in center. Moises Alou a 2 and a 9 in right. Vinny Castilla is a 5 at third. Julio Lugo a 7 at short. Craig Biggio is a 3 at second. Jeff Bagwell is a 6 at first. Brett Ausmus a 10 and a 7 behind the plate. How you doing, Big Dave? And Shane Reynolds is a 7 on the mound with a 1,000 fielding percentage. Now before the game, the Mariners went from 13 pitchers down to 11. They activated Al Martin and Stan Javier to be pinch hitters or to play in the game. So although there is a handful of outfielders there, up on the upper left that you can see, they'll need the bats, remember. There's no DH here in Houston. So 67 degrees, heavy winds. Remember, this is not considered a dome in Action PC territory, so skies are threatening. It is supposed to rain at some point. Ichiro at 320 on these playoffs with 16 hits and 50 at-bats. 5 stolen bases, 11 runs. And he has had a hit in all but the first game of the LDS against the Yankees. And the World Series begins with a ground ball to short. A second, rather, Biggio over to Bagwell and all that. And that's an error. So Bagwell couldn't get there. Ichiro moves on to second as Biggio's throw goes into the stands. Poor Keith Olbermann's mom gets plunked to start the World Series. So if you're a Mariner fan, that's the way you want to start. You got your spark plug on second base. For Mark McLemore, 289 in the playoffs, 11 for 38 with 4 RBI. So before the folks get settled in after Sawyer Brown sang the national anthem here in Game 1. Why is this so slow? McLemore hits a ground ball to Biggio, who will throw to first for the out. What? You can see why we are crawling here. Something's open here. All right, we're going to put up the trouble slide here. What is making this computer run so slow? Well, apparently Steam is like taking half my memory here, so we have closed that down for now and hopefully can get through the next little while without any problem here. I have a feeling. Today, by the way, is the release of City Skylines 2. If you're in the gaming world, and I'm sure I downloaded it earlier, and I'm sure that's what that's all about. John Olerud, as we get back to the ball game, again, I think they're going to put statues of him up in Seattle, hitting .326, 14 for 43, 3 homers, and 21 RBI. In the ALDS, he hit .368, a homer and 10 RBI, and against Oakland, he went 7 for 24 with 2 homers and 11 RBI. Runner on third is Ichiro. Ground ball to Biggio. That's better. Astros will concede the run. Ichiro scores, and the Mariners lead 1-0 here in the first. So 2 out for David Bell, hitting .200. 4 home runs and 10 RBI. So the Mariners off to the good start. Reynolds winds and deals. And there's a base hit into left field. Berkman will pick it up. Castilla, I'm not sure if he will be in the field when we get to Seattle, just because he's not made a lot of good plays. Brett Boone, .261, 2 homers, 5 RBI. He had the game-winning home run in Game 6 against Oakland, if you remember, in the 8th inning. Pitch to Boone. There's a high fly ball to left. Back goes Berkman way back to the Crawford boxes, and that is up on the train tracks. My goodness gracious. The Mariners have come out firing. They got 3 on the board here in the top of the first. Choo-choo! Boone just absolutely crushed that one. The Southern Pacific is going to be charging some freight rail fees for that. My goodness. And so that error hurts. Reynolds has not allowed an earned run. All 3 of those runs are unearned. But Brett Boone, as he has done so often in these playoffs, hits a big home run. Here's Dan Wilson, 205 and 2 RBI. Reynolds deals, and there's a ground ball to right. Alou will pick it up. And for Houston, this is not the start they want. I can feel the icy chill of a boogie whip at my side. Here's Carlos Guillen at 190. 8 for 42 in the playoffs. What a dream start for Seattle. But of all teams, they should know that that can be fickle. Pitch to Guillen. Reynolds hits a ground ball to Biggio. Craig throws to Bagwell, and finally that will retire the side. However, 3 runs, including 2 on the big home run up on the railroad tracks to Brett Boone. And after half an inning, it's Seattle 3, Houston nothing. Scotty's goats, by the way, are being allowed to graze on Ty's Hill between innings. Just because Houston's a friendly city. Aaron Seeley is making his 4th playoff start. They did not need to use him in Game 7, and because there was only 1 day off between Game 7 of the ALCS and Game 1 of the World Series, he is on full rest. He pitched twice against Oakland and went 1-1 in the American League Championship Series. He's on full rest, 4-1 loss on the 22nd. I believe he pitched Game 5. So Game 1 and Game 5. 6 innings in Game 5, 91 pitches. 7 hits, 3 runs all earned, 2 homers. He has walked 3 and struck out 4. So in these playoffs, 17 2/3, 17 hits, 9 runs, all earned, 3 homers. He walked 7 and struck out 8. And if Bernie was here, he would tell you that he was a member of the Red Sox. Speaking of former members of the Red Sox. Julio Lugo will lead off for Houston at short. Craig Biggio at second will bat second. Jeff Bagwell at first will go third. Lance Berkman in left cleans up. Moises Alou in right will bat fifth. Richard Hidalgo in center will go sixth. Vinny Castilla at third will bat seventh. Brad Ausmus behind the plate bats eighth. And Reynolds, who threw 17 pitches in his half of the first, will bat ninth. We did not make any lineups or any roster changes to Houston. So the 25 they've used all along is who they got today. Mark McLemore is a 6 and a 3 in left as we set the Seattle defense for you. Cameron a 10 and a 5 in center. Ichiro a 10 and an 8 in right. David Bell is a 6 at third. Carlos Guillen a 3 at short. Brett Boone a 6 at second. John Olerud a 6 at first. How you doing, Mike from the truck? Dan Wilson a 7 and a 2 behind the plate. And Seeley is an 8 on the mound with a .970 fielding percentage. Being this is Houston's 11th playoff game, Julio Lugo has reached on base with a base hit in every Houston playoff game so far. He's hitting .310 as a leadoff hitter. He has 10 RBI, 2 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run. And Houston starts their World Series. A ground ball to second. Boone over to first. 1 out. And so remember, if your computer is set to download City Skylines or is running Steam, it is running very slow right now. Here's Craig Biggio at .304. 2 home runs and 5 RBI. Remember, the Astros beat the Marlins in 4 and the Cubs in 6 to get here. That's up the middle. Guillen by the bag has it. Throws to first for the out, 2 away. The Mariners have played the maximum amount of games so far. They've played all 12. Jeff Bagwell at .268, but he had a couple big home runs against the Cubs, and he's driven in 10. So 3 home runs overall. 2 out. Seeley from the wind. Ground ball to third. Bell has it by the bag over to Olerud. And that will retire the side. Houston goes in order in the first. After half or 1 full, it's 3-0 Seattle. So as Mike Cameron steps up, 186, but he does have 3 homers and 7 RBI. How about those Texas Rangers? They have yet to win a playoff game at home, but they're in the World Series for real. We'll find out tonight whether it's Arizona or Philadelphia. And Christopher Rosal is claiming that he will retire on the spot if the Diamondbacks win tonight. Yep, rooting for them to win it all, but since they never have. The Diamondbacks, if they win tonight, won the World Series in their only other appearance. That was actually 22 years ago, 2001. And the Rangers came so close in 2011. So close. Anyway, pitch to Cameron. There's a base hit into left center field. Berkman will pick it up. So I'm not sure how long you'll let Reynolds sit out there. Now this should be interesting. Now remember, we did have interleague play. So Aaron Seeley did bat. It was 1 for 6. But yeah, Scotty, I did not realize that until tonight. It's not their first clinching or deciding game in a postseason series. That came in 1980 and in 81. The Astros took them to 5 in 1980, and when the Expos beat them in the 81 NLDS, that was a Game 5. But it's hard to believe that it's the first time in Philadelphia Phillies history that they are playing in a Game 7. Bagwell and Castilla play for the bunt. Seeley squares. Reynolds has it. Throws to Biggio covering for the out. Cameron moving to second. 1 out for Ichiro, who reached on an error and scored. Opening 9 for Reynolds. 20 pitches. Inning in a third. 4 hits. The 2-run bomb to Boone but no earned runs. He's on the wrong side of a 3-0 score in the second, but nothing has been charged to Reynolds. And yep, the Rangers a strike away twice. And as a Red Sox fan who remembers '86 all too well, my heart just broke for them. I think Game 6 of the 11 World Series was probably, you could put that in Game 7 of the 16 World Series as the two best games played in this century. Pitch to Ichiro. There's a base hit into left field, so Ichiro's hitting streak goes to 11. Cameron rounds third and scores. And Seattle has come loaded for bear in this World Series. They lead 4-0 here in the second. For Mark McLemore, who's 0 for 1. Base hit left field, and they're going to go talk with Reynolds. Shane has only retired 4 batters. I suppose you could go with Dave Malicki. Or if you want, or not tired, okay. Or burn Ron Vallone if you don't think you can come back. That's 75 pitches that you could pretty much burn through. Those decisions a lot easier to make in Game 1 than they would be in a Game 3 or Game 4. No, 1 out for Olerud, who reached on a fielder's choice and drove in a run in the first. That's into left field. Back goes Berkman by the bullpens, and Lance will make the catch. Ichiro will hold at second. McLemore on first. 2 out for Bell, who has a single and a run scored. So they'd like to get probably 4 or 5 out of Reynolds if they can. His pitch count's low. It's at 26. Bell laces this one foul down the third base side. Nolan Ryan made that catch. Bernie got to his seat late. 2-run homer by Brett Boone in the first. Big Dave says, I don't have a horse in the Major League Baseball playoff race. Would like to see Arizona win and have them play the Rangers. I always enjoy seeing new teams in the World Series instead of the same 4 or 5 teams every year. You would think that that would be a boon for television to have Phoenix and the Dallas-Fort Worth area be the markets. Although, in the beginning of the season, I said Houston and Philly. Pitch to Bell. Base hit down the line and right. Ichiro will round third and score. Alou picks it up. McLemore will score, and it's 6-0 here in the second. So the Mariners, remember, were down 8-0 in the third inning of Game 7 against the A's. And since then, in the last 11 innings, they have scored 15 runs. Here's Brett Boone. It was his 2-run homer up on the train tracks that kind of hushed this crowd. Pitch from Reynolds. Fly ball left field. Berkman will make the catch, and the inning is mercifully over. 3 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for Seattle. We go to the bottom of the second here in Game 1. 6-0 Seattle. So Berkman, Alou, and Hidalgo. Lance at 257, 1 homer, and 6 RBI. He has a 6-game hitting streak going. Chops this one to short in the hole. Carlos Guillen throws to first for the out. Edgar Martinez has a blanket and a pillow in the Mariners dugout. That's true. The World Series used to be more fun to watch before cable and the internet. Living in American League City, you didn't get the National League too often. Said in the open, I mean, if you look at this matchup for this one, Seattle and Houston, that's a Bally Sports Net special in the middle of August. Not necessarily what you think of as a World Series matchup. Moises Alou has done quite well for Houston on an 8-game hitting streak, hitting .375, a home run, and 6 RBI. Up the middle, Guillen's got it. Carlos throws to first for the out. So 2 quick outs for Hidalgo. Still hitting .350 with 2 homers and 7 RBI. Seeley winds and fires. Struck him out. So it's 6 up, 6 down for Houston. We go to the third here in game 1. It's Seattle 6, Houston nothing. So they'd like to get Reynolds at least through the third. He would bat third here in the third. Dan Wilson has a single already. And again, as we said a moment ago, Houston will have to decide whether we're going to burn game 1 or try to chip back at it. Wilson sends this one to left. Berkman. That will actually get past Berkman and hit the wall. That, right? Yeah, Berkman should have had it. He throws it into second, and Wilson, is he going to hold with a single? That should have been a double. That hit off the auxiliary scoreboard, and then Wilson tripped over the bag at first. So the Astros catch a break. Here's Guillen. He's 0 for 1. Ground ball to first. Bagwell to Lugo for 1. Julio will throw to first, but it'll be late, and Guillen reaches on the fielder's choice. So Reynolds, in effect, in relief for himself. Here's Cameron, who has singled and scored. 6-0 Mariners here in the third. That might be 2. Biggio fields it. Lugo for 1. And again, the throw to first isn't just coming. So Cameron will reach. 2 out on the fielder's choice. Aaron Seeley sacrificed his first time up. This time he sends this one in the left center. Hidalgo will be there. And that will retire the side. So they will leave Reynolds in. There was only 2 off days between Game 6 of the Houston-Chicago series coming into this one. So they're just going to let sleeping dogs lie for a bit and see if Reynolds can, again, just give them 5 or 6. So here's Castilla, Vinny at .257, a homer and 5 RBI. Seeley's pitch. Castilla rips one to Boone over to first. 1 out. Jamie agrees with Bernie. I kind of missed the more separation between the leagues as a kid seeing NL games only on NBC. Yep. And of course, Jamie, you and I are of the age as Osman steps in at .281, 2 triples and 4 RBI. That there were a lot. If you saw the National League, chances are they were playing on the plastic. All those cookie cutters were traditionally National League stadiums. Osmus ground ball to Olerud, takes it at the bag, 2 out. So 8 up, 8 down for Seeley. Here's Reynolds, 1 for 5 in the playoffs. But he has a home run. And that came in his start against the Cubs. Pitch to Reynolds. Slow ground ball to Guillen. Carlos has it over to Olerud, and that will retire the side. 9 up, 9 down for Seeley. He's done it on 28 pitches as well. After 3 here in Game 1, 6-0 Seattle. So again, Reynolds pretty much is in relief for himself. If this was a later game, he would have been gone. But being a Game 1, and it really doesn't matter on the losing end whether you lose 5-4 or 15-2. A loss is a loss. So, if Houston starts to fight back, obviously you're not going to hit Reynolds with a runner on, but eat some innings. Ichiro 1 for 2 in Game 1. He has scored twice. He reached on the error by Castilla, which eventually allowed 3 runs to score. Jamie says that is true about the difference between watching an American League game and a National League game. Also, they would talk about how the American League was a breaking ball league, where the NL was more of a fastball league because of the more emphasis on speed. Sure, especially because when you got those ground ball hops on the AstroTurf, the ball went a lot faster. And remember, uniform ballparks, size-wise, not a lot of English muffin-style ballparks, not a lot of nooks and crannies at that point. Pitch to Ichiro as we start the 4th. He rips that one to right, and Alou will field it. So Ichiro is 2 for 3 in his World Series debut. For McLemore, who's 1 for 2. So Reynolds, although they are leaving him in for a little bit, he can't continue to get ripped. Ron Vallone is loosening for Houston. There's a ground ball to Lugo. This might be 2. Lugo, a great play. Only has a shot at first. Got up. He knew he couldn't get Ichiro, but a good strike to Bagwell, and McLemore is retired. Lugo saves a base hit. So 1 out for Olerud, who is 0 for 2. He does have an RBI. Reynolds deals. Ball 4, and that'll do it for Shane. So they're going to go with, if I got to burn a pitcher, Tim Redding. Redding has made 2 relief appearances, both in losses. He last pitched 10 days ago against the Cubs here in Houston. 2 innings, 35 pitches, a hit, and 2 walks. He's 23. Fastball at 95, a fly ball pitcher. And at 85 pitches, he can go as long as he's semi-effective. So you never want to wave the white flag in a ball game. But the Astros, that's a long road to hoe when you got a ball game tomorrow. Bell has singled, doubled, driven in 2 here in game 1 and scored. First and second, Bell hits a slow bounder to Biggio. Lugo for 1 and Bagwell for 2. So Redding gets the pitcher's best friend, a diamond hand wrapped by Carol Channing. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 4th here in game 1. It's Seattle 6, Houston nothing. And so how did we get here? Seattle, the most improbable comeback you'd ever seen. They were down 8-0 in Game 7 to Oakland and scored 9 straight to win 9-8. And Houston overcame a very plucky Chicago team 13-7 in Game 6. And so that's how we got here. The first World Series ever for the Mariners and the Houston Astros. Julio Lugo is 0 for 1. Aaron Seeley, his opening 9, 28 pitches, 3 innings, and a strikeout. And Lugo hits this one hard again over to Olerud. 1 out for Biggio, and the entire Astro team is 0 for 1 except for Lugo. Biggio breaks up the no-hitter. That is down the line and right. Ichiro will fish it out of the corner. The throw to second is going to be cut off by Boone, and Biggio now has an 11-game hitting streak. So Craig has had a base hit for every Astro postseason game, and that'll bring up Jeff Bagwell. So Seeley allows his first base runner with 1 out in the 4th. And Bagwell draws the walk. So that'll bring up Lance Berkman. Lance is 0 for 1. First and second, 1 out. Seeley is a pitch-to-contact pitcher. He only fanned 114 in 215 real innings and has struck out 9 in 21 playoff innings. Berkman, this could be two. Guillen has to find it. He goes to Boone for one, and Berkman's going to reach on the fielder's choice. It's a 6-4 force. So no throw, runners on the corners, Berkman on first, Biggio on third for Moises, and now Lou is 0 for 1. Seeley's pitch, and there's a ground ball to third. Bell goes to Boone, and the Astros get base runners, but they don't score. No runs, a hit, and the Astros have left on 2. After 4 in Game 1, it's Seattle 6, Houston 1. So Tim Redding in long relief here for Houston in the 5th. Will face Boone. It was his home run in the first that someone retrieved off the railroad tracks. Dan Wilson, who's 2 for 2 today, and Carlos Guillen. Redding's pitch. And there's a line shot past Biggio into center field for a base hit. So a single to the 10th hit for Seattle in the ballgame. Dan Wilson is 2 for 2 today. He is singled twice. Base hit left field. Gets past Bergman. Lance fields it off the scoreboard. Wilson slides into second, and he is in there with his second double of the playoffs, and the Mariners are cooking with gas again. Here's Carlos Guillen. He is 0 for 2. Nobody out here in the 5th. Pitch from Redding. Struck him out. Carlos swung on and missed a fastball on an 0-2. So 1 out for Cameron, who has singled and scored. Struck him out. Redding got him to chase a 1-2 fastball out of the zone. So here's Seeley. Aaron is 0 for 1. If the Astros can't get a base runner on, well, Redding would pitch the 6th anyway, if that was the case. But they want him to pitch as long as they can. They don't want to mess up their bullpen. Pitch to Seeley. Struck him out. Redding takes care of the side after the couple burps. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. Halfway home on a chilly day here in Burlington in Game 1. It's Seattle 6, Houston nothing. Ow. If you joined us late, here's how we got here. It's been all Seattle all the time, and my camera's already moved away. John Olerud with a fielder's choice to make it 1-0 Seattle in the first. And Brett Boone, a 2-run shot up on the railroad tracks down in the left center field to make it 3-0. In the second, Ichiro has now a 12-game hitting streak in the playoffs. He singled home Cameron to make it 4-0. And then David Bell doubled home too to make it 6-0. And so the Mariners chased Shane Reynolds in the 4th. Really, they chased him in the 1st, but because it's Game 1, you try to let your pitcher work out of it. He couldn't do it. Tim Redding has gone inning in 2/3. Aaron Seeley has allowed 1 hit through 4. Hidalgo was struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Scotty agrees with us about the difference between the leagues and the World Series. There used to be an argument about which league was better, settled in the World Series. Spoken like it, actually, you're a National League fan. That would be the All-Star game. Yeah, it's just a tournament. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll probably watch some of the series, but, you know, you catch bits and pieces of highlights on YouTube of the playoffs, and that's about it. Pitch to Hidalgo. Here's a ground ball to third. Bell has it over to Olerud. 1 out. For Castilla, Vinny is 0 for 1. There's a base hit in the left field, only the second hit for Houston. McLemore will grab it. So 1 out, Ausmus at the plate. Brad is 0 for 1. You think about for Seattle, not only how they came from 8 back to win Game 7, but the performance that Joel Pinheiro had in Game 6. Pedro-esque, Madison Bumgarner-esque, 6 innings of no-hit baseball, just a walk. Ausmus hits a ground ball to Guillen. They might get 2 here. Boone for 1 and Olerud for 2. And so Seeley's just kind of sitting pretty. We go to the 6th here in Game 1. No runs, a hit, no errors. After 5, 6-0 Seattle. So we'll see what... Well, I've got my choice about Redding here. Let's see how he does in the 6th. Ichiro, 2 for 3 here in Game 1. 2 singles, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. People of Scotty's age remember when it was a matter of which National League team could beat the Yankees. Wasn't that a board game? Challenge the Yankees or beat the Yankees? I wonder if that's in Bernie's list. Obviously not a game that's made anymore. But I believe it was one of those spinner games. Like the Cadco, the Ethan Allen game. Pitch to Suzuki. Ichiro hits a slow ground ball to Bagwell. He'll underhand it to Redding, 1 out. Here's Mark McLemore. Mark 1 for 3. A single and a run scored. By the way, Game 4 next Wednesday will be Moxie Appreciation Day. And so you will be able to see my wife and I appreciate the goodness that is Moxie. Pitch to McLemore, 1 for 3. Ground ball to third. Castilla, snap throw to first. Speaking of old, 1 or 2 out. So Redding is going to stay in the ball game, I would think. Here's Olerud. John is 0 for 2, an RBI and a walk. Challenger beat the Yankees, Jamie says, and you saw that the son of the creator brought back the game. I think that was the offshoot to Ethan Allen baseball. Ethan Allen is one of the founding fathers of the state of Vermont, but not that Ethan Allen. Pitch to Olerud. Struck him out. That's 4 for Redding. So he's done well, and he's going to stay in the ballgame to see if he can save his pen. After 5.5, no runs, no hits, no errors. 6-0 Seattle. Challenge the Yankees is a 2-player game from 1964, which was not last week. Bernie says there are so many live sporting events, including baseball, every team, every day. You get paralyzed to watch nothing. Yeah, I'll watch highlights. I care. But as far as investing time is concerned, yeah, play a sim instead than watch anything exciting on delay. So challenge the Yankees. Tim Redding went 3 for 14. How you doing, Todd B? You know whose birthday it was a couple weeks ago, and I thought of you, was George Hendrick. Aaron Seeley starts the 6th here. Redding swings a ground ball to Boone. Over to Olerud for the out. So if Redding can go a couple more, you're certainly not going to waste Billy Wagner today, down 6 runs. But you can save the pen for Houston for when they get into a tight situation later in this series. Yours was just on Saturday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear monkey. Happy birthday to you. In Boston, the game was called Lose to the Yankees. Excuse me. Aaron Seeley, 18 batters, 5 in the third, 2 hits, 58 pitches, a walk and a strikeout. He is cruising along here in Game 1. Lugo is 0 for 2. If he does get a hit, he will match Craig Biggio as having a base hit in every playoff game the Astros have. And remember, the only place you can find Houston Astros World Series coverage this fall is right here on Retro Sports Network. Pitch to Lugo is a slow bounder back to Seeley. Over to Olerud, and Julio is retired. 2 out for Biggio. Craig had that double, one of the 2 hits Houston has off of Seeley. He's 1 for 2. Struck him out. Only the second strikeout for Seeley. We've played 6. It is Seattle 6, Houston nothing. Todd B's been working on the Hendrick experience. Excuse me while I kiss the guy or the sky. It has nothing to do with guitars. It's putting that sticker back on his helmet. Be David Bell, Brett Boone, and Dan Wilson here against Redding in the 7th. Redding 2 2/3, a 2-hit ball. He has struck out 4. Bell 2 for 3 here in game 1. A single, a double, a run scored, and 2 RBI. Redding starts the 7th with a ground ball to first. Bagwell can't play it, picks it up, takes it to the bag, and Bell is retired. So Bagwell saves his own oopsie. He booted it but kept it right in front of him, and then he scooped it up and stepped on the bag. 1 out for Brett Boone. Has a single and a mammoth homer to the railroad tracks and left. He is driven in 2. Hopefully Curtis is okay. That's Ranger fan in the chat. Curtis was headed to Austin for the American Grand Prix. Max Verstappen won. Surprise, surprise, if you follow Formula One. So Curtis must be in Cloud 9, going to watch the Formula One race, and then his Rangers making the World Series. Pitch to Boone. Brett sends this one to first. Bagwell gobbles it up, takes it to the bag for the out. So 2 out. Have I enjoyed this trip in the 2000s? About as much as I thought. Some of this has been really fun. I think it's always harder. Here's Dan Wilson, by the way. 3 for 3. 2 singles and a double. You know, I think there's a sweet spot where all the names mean something to you. The last few playoff games were really, really good. And the end of the regular season, that 3-way race between the Phillies, the Braves, and the Marlins was fun. But, so I've enjoyed it. It doesn't beat what happened in 85, but then again, I was 14 in 85, so that makes a big difference. But yes, it's been fun, and you never know what's going to happen in the World Series. Pitch to Wilson. Is a fly ball left field. Berkman coming in. Stretch time in game 1, 6-0 Seattle. Aaron Seeley continues to work on his gem as Jeff Bagwell steps to the plate. He's over 1 with a walk. You know, one of the reasons why I picked this season was because I wondered why the Mariners didn't get as far as they should. And then after playing the Mariners playoff games, I kind of understood why they didn't get where they should. It's kind of like one of those, as Bernie will tell you, some of those late 70s Red Sox teams. We'll give you 6. We'll score 8, but we'll give you 6. But the fact that they walked off the Yankee series on the David Bell home run in Game 5, and I'm telling you, Game 7, which you can go back and watch from a couple days ago, was probably the most improbable way to end the series. And I felt, you know you're doing a good job on a replay. Pitch to Bagwell is popped up right side. Olerud by the Astro dugout, and that will bounce it off and be a foul ball. The count is 0-2. I genuinely felt bad for Oakland after Game 7. I can't imagine having that happen in real life to blow an 8-run lead in Game 7. Yep, it's been exciting, and that's what you want. The 0-2 to Bagwell. There's a fly ball left field. Cameron and McLemore go back for it. McLemore to the screen, and that is off the wall. So Bagwell is into second with a double standing, and that's only the third hit. So here's Berkman. He's 0 for 2. Seeley has a lot of rope here. Berkman into right center. The crowd likes it. So does Cameron. He will make a diving stop on the grass. And Bagwell's going to try for third. The throw from Cameron is going to be close at third, but no cigar, and he's in there with the tag. So Alou with an 8-game hitting streak. He's 0 for 2. 1 out, bottom of the 7th, 6-0 Seattle. Pitch to Alou. There's a ground ball. Bagwell will score. Boone scoops it behind the bag, throws to first for the out, and Houston's on the board, 6-1. So great play by Boone, 2 out. Jamie says, as a spectator, I really enjoyed the pennant run this year. No fault of the replay, but the extra playoff format is not ideal for me. Yeah, it's been a long... It's hard for me to focus beyond the LCS, even in the real world, but it's been a great playoffs despite the extra games. I wanted to be done by now, and we're almost into November. And even taking the game 2s and 3s off the board, we did 13 LCS games. We did 4, 7. This is my 23rd playoff stream. And we could go up to 29 depending on how long the series goes. We'll let Bill be this over yet, you're fine. But I start in January. I don't know how many regular season games we've done, but yeah, this is our 23rd playoff stream. Doggo is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Pitch to Hidalgo. There's a ground ball to third. Bell's got it. Over to Olerud. And Atwell retired the side. We go to the 8th in game 1. Houston on the board. A run, a hit, and no errors after 7, 6-1 Seattle. So Guillen is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Let's see what the computer does with Seeley, although he's only thrown 79 pitches. I always was a big John Olerud fan, and he has done nothing in this postseason to dispel me of that notion. Pitch to Guillen. Carlos rips one to right field. Alou will grab it. That is the 12th hit for Seattle. 6-12-0 for the M's. They've left on 6. A run on 3 hits on an error for Houston, and they've left on 2. Cameron 1 for 3. A single, run scored, and a strikeout. Natural swing Olerud. So yes, I suppose the grind of what would be, even if we did every single day, a month's worth of playoff games. That's a lot. Into right center, Hidalgo coming in, rides the Schwinn, makes the catch. Guillen goes back to first. So you would think that Aaron Seeley would stay in the ballgame. 5-run lead, pitching really well. He has pitched 7 strong innings, and he will stay in the ballgame. Lace this one to right center. Hidalgo makes the catch. They had him played perfectly. Oh, no, maybe not. Is he going to dive for it? You might well. He got it. A tumbling, diving catch by Hidalgo, and there's 2 out. And Tim Redding, again, one of those just keep it close type pitching efforts here, has gone 4 1/3 scoreless innings. And has pretty much kept the Astro bullpen from getting in too deep here in game 1. Here is Ichiro. He's 2 for 4 today. He has singled twice, driven in a run, his first of the postseason, by the way, and has now scored 13 times in 13 games. Imagine asking Hendrick if he wanted to die for that. George would just say, no, I'll pick it up. Pitch to Ichiro, fly ball, right field. Back goes Alou. Moises will make the catch, and that will retire the side. No runs, a hit, no errors. Bottom of the 8th here in Game 1. It's all Seattle, 6-1. So Castilla, Ausmus, and a pinch hitter. Redding has done everything that Houston asked him to do. But Aaron Seeley is winning the day. Castilla is 1 for 2 with a single. Slow ground ball. Boone has it on the grass over to first. 1 out. Scotty says Olerud was great even in his Washington State University days and overcame the aneurysm. He was a pitcher, wasn't he? Here's Ausmus. Brad is 0 for 2. He is grounded into a double play. Seeley's pitch. Right back to Aaron, over to first. Did Olerud win the batting title? I believe, I'd have to go back and look. We can look in a moment. That Jason Giambi won the batting title. Jason Giambi nearly had a Triple Crown year. So Redding will not pitch the 9th. Who can hit a righty? Jose Vizcaino, 2 for 4 in these playoffs. Oh, he was the original. Oh, did he win in 93? I thought you meant for this year. Yeah, he won in 93 when the Blue Jays repeated as World Series champions. Pitcher first baseman, the original Ohtani. Vizcaino, 2 for 4 in these playoffs with an RBI. Seeley's pitch. Ground ball to third. David Bell's got it over to first. And that will take... Nope, that's an error. So Vizcaino's going to reach on a 2-base error. Bell had that sign sealed, but he couldn't get it delivered. So the first error for Seattle, and now bring up Lugo, who has got one last chance to extend his hitting streak to 11. Seeley thought he was done. Lugo was 0 for 3. Seeley, 85 pitches, 7 2/3, 3 hits and a run. Bell, this time he'll make sure he has it. Throws to first, and that will retire the side. We go to the 9th in Game 1. No runs, no hits, and 1 error. It's Seattle 6, Houston 1. And we're going to go with... Michael Jackson. Yep, this year, Jamie says 2001 with Gwynn. Only played, I think, 14 games. And Ripken retiring ended that 80s, 90s era for sure. Jackson, 36. Fastball at 86. Pitched 3 times against the Cubs. But hasn't pitched in 6 days. He went 1 inning on the 21st, 16 pitches, 2 hits, and 2 strikeouts. So 5 innings overall, 7 hits, an earned run, homer, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Pitched 4 times in the NLCS, and pitched in all 4 games in the NLDS. McLemore is 1 for 4. A single and a run scored. You would have thought that if Seattle needed a pinch hit for a pitcher that they would go with Edgar Martinez, and Edgar just kind of snoring away in the dugout. To first, it's Bagwell, 1 out. In the Houston 9th, if you're looking ahead, Biggio, Bagwell, and Berkman. John Olerud 0 for 3 here in Game 1. A walk, a strikeout, and an RBI. Jackson's pitch. Base hit right field. Mr. Dave's just going through some stuff. He'll be all right. Here's David Bell. He's 2 for 4. He's singled, doubled, and driven in 2. Here's a ground ball to second. Biggio, Lugo for 1, and Bagwell for 2. And that will retire the side. We go to the bottom of the ninth here in game number 1. It's 6-1 Seattle. So Houston needs 5 to tie and 6 to win. Biggio is 1 for 3. He has a double and a strikeout. Base hit right field. Ichiro will cut it off. So Biggio has a single. Seeley, again, they can yank him at any time. He has done yeoman's work. Bagwell 1 for 2. A double, a run scored, and a walk. That's a base hit down the line and left. So Houston comes alive here in the ninth. Biggio will round third. I imagine he's going to score here. The throw goes into Boone, and that is a double. The run does not score. Second and third, nobody out for Berkman. Pitch from Seeley is a fly ball to right. Berkman was 0 for 3. Ichiro makes the catch. Biggio will tag and score. The throw goes in the infield. And there's 1 out, and the ball game is now 6-2. For Moises Alou, who's 1 for 3 with a RBI. Bang the Drum Slowly. Was that a book about the Astros? I don't think so. Base hit, and we're going to go get Seeley. McLemore will pick it up. So, Aaron, you don't need a complete game. The runner will hold at third, 1 out. You got Sasaki. You use Sasaki. Not a save situation, and Seeley can't lose it. Sasaki, 6 appearances now. He's made a save in each game. He's made 5 saves, 33 years old. Rookie of the Year last year. He got the save in game 6 and got the save in game 7. And 2 days ago, 13 pitches and struck out the side to do it. 5 innings, 2 hits, a run. That home run came against the Yankees in New York, and he has struck out 7. You thought it was about Cleveland Stadium. So runners on the corners, 1 out for Hidalgo, who is 0 for 3. Sasaki deals. That's in the center field. Cameron will move over. He will make the catch. Bagwell, we'll see if he tags or not. There's 2 out. Bagwell scores to make it 6-3. It's going to be a closer game than it really was. 2 out for Castilla, who was 1 for 3. Sasaki trying to slam down game 1. Base, a fly ball, left center field. Cameron and McLemore going back. That's going to hit off the bullpen fence. Alou will round third and score, and the Astros have a 3 spot. It's now 6-4. Brad is 0 for 3 and is grounded into a double play. So now it's a save situation as Houston brings up the tying run. Right back up the box, Sasaki throws to first, and the Mariners win game 1. But it wasn't as close as that score indicated. 6-4 the final score in 2 hours and 46 fake minutes. 6 runs, 13 hits, an error for Seattle, and they left on 7. 4 runs, 7 hits, an error, and Houston left on 4. Aaron Seeley gets the win in game 1, 8 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 1 and struck out 2. Sasaki lands his 6th save, 14 pitches. Seeley with great stuff. He just kind of let it go late. Shane Reynolds had pretty much nothing. Tim Redding in relief, 4 2/3 scoreless, 3 hits and 4 strikeouts. So your digital to dice player of the game is going to go to Dan Wilson, who went 3 for 4. He stepped out of it. So, Arrested Edgar waiting in the wings, a good start. And the Mariners lead the series 1-0. Roy Oswalt will go for Houston in Game 2. The Mariners should go with Paul Abbott, although, So that's that for that. So we're done with this. Seattle wins Game 1 by the score of 6-4, and so we'll see you tomorrow for Game number 2. Paul Abbott, maybe, against Roy Oswalt. Noontime, the first pitch. We'll talk to you then. Have a good day, everybody.